Yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't trust the government of Florida to tell teachers how to teach history, particularly black history, wanting to put a revisionist idea that somehow slaves benefited from being slaves. I don't think that that is the truth. But I'll tell you, my friend Donald Trump will have his folks thinking that that's the truth. But at any rate, MAGA Republican extremists want to sell us on an apocalyptic fantasy. They want the American people to believe that the border is out of control, that drugs are flowing in freely, that September 11th style terrorists are infiltrating with impunity, and that Latino immigrants are coming to rape, rob, and murder our families. But in reality, the greatest threat facing our homeland is white nationalist ideology that lies beneath such rhetoric. Experts agree that dangerous speech from elected officials creates a climate that foments violence and threatens public safety. And Republicans in the 118th Congress have amplified the white nationalist invasion conspiracy theory over 80 times in their official capacity. 11 members of this very committee peddled this dangerous anti-Semitic, racist conspiracy theory. As Dr. Heidi Beirich, co-founder of the Global Project Against Hate and Extremism, has said, quote, "When migrants are described as invaders, that leads to violence, because how else does one stop an invasion," end quote. Mr. Secretary, as the ranking member mentioned, next month is the anniversary of the El Paso shooting. The shooter was inspired by white nationalist theories like the Great Replacement theory and claimed that there was a Hispanic, quote, invasion. He drove hundreds of miles to, as he admitted, target Hispanics and to murder 23 people. He is far from the only person inspired to kill as a result of these theories. In October of 2018, a domestic terrorist infiltrated the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and murdered 11 congregants during Shabbat services. That man targeted a Jewish community because he believed in the Great Replacement theory. And unfortunately, this has become a repeated pattern, which includes the attack in Poway and Buffalo. Regardless of political views, we should all stand for the principle that hate is unacceptable. Mr. Secretary, what kind of impact does this white nationalist rhetoric of invasion or replacement have on minority communities?
Congressman, when an act of hate occurs, it's not just the community that is impacted. The adverse impact is felt across this nation. One of the most prominent terrorism-related threats that we face in the homeland is what we term domestic violent extremism. It is—
And it's white nationalist extremism, is it not?
Congressman, there are diverse ideologies that underlie the acts of violence. White nationalism is one of them, but we do not focus on the ideology itself. We focus on its connectivity to violence and our effort to prevent that violence. We see a diverse range of ideologies of hate, anti-government sentiment, personal grievances, false narratives fuel acts of violence in this country. It is the connectivity to violence.
Well, when elected officials repeat Great Replacement rhetoric, including the language of invasion, are they putting a target on the backs of immigrants and people of color?
It certainly fuels the threat landscape that we encounter.
And what kind of dangers does this rhetoric impose on law enforcement?
We have seen the number of ambushes of law enforcement officers increase year over year recently, and I could provide that data to you.
Thank you. My time is about to expire, and I'll yield it back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Arizona is recognized.